Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Frank's Handyman. If you see here, we put a bunch of towels here on this kitchen. If you saw the previous episode, you saw how we did it, so I would go back and watch that part. Right now we're going to be doing a lot of other little small projects here at this house, as well as connecting this sewer as well, also connecting the hot and the cold water for the sink. After everything was connected, as you see right here, you just have to let the water run a little bit to make sure that there is no spills. And then after that, as you see, it came out looking great. He was also going to be changing a knob here. The reason why is because the door wasn't closing, and there was a little small metal piece that the knob has that was the reason why the door wasn't really closing well. So right here, he's just gonna chip off a little bit of the wood. That way it could just blend in and just become flush with the door, and then that way it's able to close well. And then he's just going to be putting the knob there and connecting everything, as far as just going to be screwing everything on, and you'll see right now that it started working really well. And then there was no issues as far as the door not being able to close properly. As far as the tiles, we had to wait until the backsplash was fully dried, and then after that we had to, take off all the spacers as you see right here. I would recommend to go back and look at the previous episode, that way you know the process that we did here on this kitchen. After we take out the spacers, we're going to be putting some grout on there as well, just to fill in those little spaces. And then at the end, you're going to see some really cool before and after pictures, but for right now you could see how it came out looking. Everything looks pretty nice and straight. Other little projects that we also had to do around the house, as far as putting some trim here, as you see it's missing. We're also going to be putting some on the bathrooms. So right now he's just going to be measuring the length that he's going to be needing to cut that trim. And this is the machine we're going to be using to cut all of the trim. Now that he has a measurement, that's just the first cut that he's going to be doing here, this longer piece, and then he's going to move on to do this little smaller pieces here around the corner. The reason he cut this piece like this is because it's going to be going under the vent, as you see right here. So he had to make sure that the vent here cover was going to be able to fit there properly. After they set these little last pieces here, all they have to do is just use a nail gun and then nail everything together, and it came out looking pretty great as well. And this is the bathroom here that we're going to be putting on some trim as well. As you can see, it's missing everything around, as well around the door it's missing, so they're going to be putting that trim around the door as well. So usually you always want to put the trim before they install the toilets, but there was another company that came in and put the toilets prior to putting the trim, so that's why we had to cut the piece in half. That way, we were able to put that piece behind the toilet. And then after that, everything that we needed to do was just to nail everything together as well. And as you can see, this is how the trim came out in the bathrooms. And this right here, he's going to be putting a mirror that they took off as well previously. So the customer wanted it back there. So we're just going to be putting this rail here that holds the mirror, and then also make sure that it's leveled, and then just screw everything on there. We're also going to be adding these little clips here on top and then screwing that on there. That way we ensure that, it's a lot stronger and that mirror won't fall. And after this, all we had to do left was just to put this rails here on this staircase. They're going to be just making sure that it's leveled and it's even right there to this other side as well. What you have to ensure is that there's wood behind. That way when you screw it on there, it screws there strongly, and you don't want to unscrew it into something when there's no wood, because eventually it could just break off. After they finished putting this rail, this was the last little task that we had to do in this house, and this is how it came out looking. And like I said, at the end you're gonna see some cool before and after pictures. I would wait till the very end, that way you get to see the kitchen, how it's fully grouted, and how the tiles came out looking. Tomorrow we will have a new project, so stay tuned and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a great day.